Okay, so Columbus's problem, he's got this idea. He wants to go into the East, find the Grand Khan, who's really rich, convert him to Christianity, and help him, and then get the Grand Khan to help him conduct a crusade to liberate Jerusalem from Muslim rule. It was then ruled by the Turks, the Mamluk Turks, who were centered in Cairo, but they also controlled Jerusalem to the north there. Okay, so that's the plan. That's what he wants to do. But his problem is, of course, he has to have money to do it. He has to have money to, he has to have investors, right? To give him the ships, to give him the supplies, to be able to get him to have enough food, to take care of sailors, right? So if you're looking for investors, what do you have to do? You have to convince the investors that you're going to make money on the venture, right? Because it's a very risky thing that he's proposing. Okay, now, this is a key thing here, which is that everybody knew the world was round. It wasn't like Columbus was the only one that knew. Everybody knew the earth was round. Nobody was worried about falling off the earth. Okay, that wasn't the problem. The problem was that everybody thought it was way too far to go around the earth from Portugal, say the coast of Portugal, all the way around and find Asia. Because, of course, they were right. It was very far. What they didn't know was that there was a whole other continent in between the two things, okay? So they actually had a lot. The reason they were afraid of funding Columbus's voyage, they being potential investors, was because they knew a lot about the Earth, okay? Now, it wasn't because they thought it was flat. It was because they knew it was really far and they didn't think it would work, okay? Nonetheless, Columbus is convinced that this is going to be a good idea, okay? The first person he tries to convince to fund his venture is the King of Portugal, okay? King João II is the first guy he goes to in 1484, okay? And he goes to the King of Portugal because Portugal is known for navigation. They're the most advanced navigators in Europe at the time. And they have started to colonize or have outposts on what are called the Canary Islands, okay, off the coast of Africa. And Columbus was actually working for Portuguese ship owners when he went out to the Canaries, and he noticed there that the winds were shifting to the west. And he said, look, this is intense trade winds going quickly over, going fast out here towards the west. We could use this to our advantage. We could probably get all the way to Asia here. So he takes this plan, he gets an audience through his connections. The merchant community presumably gets the audience with the King of Portugal, who says, that's crazy, I'm not going to give you money for that. No, go away. Okay. Now, secretly, the King of Portugal does send another expedition out west, and nothing comes of that. But he doesn't give money to Columbus. Okay. So Columbus is in debt, meaning he's not able to pay back investors on previous ventures that he's gone on, which means he's losing credibility. People don't want to loan him money. His wife passes away. He's not doing well when we get to 1485. So he decides, look, I'm going to give up on Portugal for now. I'm going to try Spain. We've got these new monarchs over here in Spain, Isabella and Ferdinand, he's heard about, right? They had a successful civil war. They are now fighting the Kingdom of Granada. They seem to be people who care about and are interested in crusade and reconquista. Maybe they'll be interested in my plan. That's Columbus's thinking, okay? So he sails to Spain, and he lands at a place called Port of Palos, and up on the hill above the city there is a Franciscan monastery. Franciscans are a type of religious order. They are what we call friars, meaning they are similar to monks in some ways, and that they live together in community, and they have communal prayer, and they don't own private property as individuals. But as friars, they go out into the world and they serve the poor and things like that. And the Franciscans were some of them were very interested in this idea of reconquering Jerusalem. They had an interest in that. And Columbus himself has known a lot of Franciscans in Portugal, so he's brought in and welcomed into this community of friars in Spain. And the head of that community, a guy named Father Antonio de Marchena, knows the Queen, or is connected to the Queen, Isabella. And so Columbus, through the Franciscans, is able to meet up with the Queen, get an audience before Isabella, okay? And he does this in 1486, okay? And, you know, at the time, in 1486, Isabella and Ferdinand are investing heavily in their crusade against Granada. So they're not particularly interested in funding a, you know, Columbus to sail out west and maybe never come back from there, okay? And Columbus, however, has a connection with Isabella. She's sympathetic to his goals. Precisely, she's very interested in this idea of reconquering Jerusalem, connecting with the Grand Khan, converting him, and then reconquering Jerusalem. She's very drawn to Columbus's central mission here, the religious mission, okay? And she's going to agree that she will consider the plan, okay? But of course, the priority in the 1586 is still Granada, okay? So Columbus decides he's going to stay in Spain. He fights in the crusade against Granada. And he is also there at court with Isabella and Ferdinand when reports are coming in from Jerusalem about potential violence that might fall on the Christian community there. So there's rising sort of anxiety about what's going to happen in Jerusalem to Christians. Isabella's more and more interested in funding this venture of, you know, there's more and more of a sense of urgency about reconquering Jerusalem. Okay. And so Isabella then, this is 1490, we're getting towards the end of the war against Granada. She brings in a bunch of experts to look at Columbus's plan. And they all say the same thing, which is this isn't going to work. It's too far. He'll never make it. It's too risky. Okay, Columbus says, well, look, Isabella, here's the thing. The more risky it is, the more potential for profit you have. Okay, just give me a few ships and a little bit of food to sustain myself with some sailors. Okay, and I'll be able to recruit some sailors, and then if we make it to the east, not only will we be able to potentially convert the Khan, but we'll establish a new trade route, and you'll make a ton of money at the same time. He says you're missing out on a huge opportunity, right? And so Isabella, she's still focused on Granada. Once Granada falls in 1492, Isabella sends a messenger out to Columbus, summons him back to court, and says that she will fund him to go on this venture moving west in an attempt to get to the Far East so he can find the Khan, convert him, and then they can start to plan for the reconquest of Jerusalem, okay? So it's 1492, here we are, the Reconquista is complete, Spain is a rising power, and also now the monarchs of Spain, Isabella and Ferdinand, have agreed to fund Columbus's journey across the Atlantic Ocean moving west. All right?